Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to each one of you. Let me begin with the question. Yeah? How many of us here at some point of our careers have been worried about the way it is going or way it is not going? Me too. Don't worry, I'm going to confess a lot in this podium today, so feel free to lift your hands and participate. Careers today are not just about growth, but they're about survival. Not just about success, but relevance. We're living in an era where there's so much of fear and uncertainty. Fear and uncertainty used to be occasional visitors. Now they've become loyal companions to us. And at the heart of it lies career anxiety. Careers are also tied to our identity and also have a social standing. Therefore, this puts enormous pressure on us, and that creates additional anxiety. Sometimes when you open the morning newspaper, you do see that there are 20,000 people laid off in some corner of the world. A couple of weeks ago, it happened in India. I'm not going to name the organization. And suddenly when you open Instagram or YouTube, you're going to see a feature that's saying 40 is the new retirement age. Have any of us even imagined that this is going to happen? This is all real and happening in front of us. Students who are going to pass out this year probably have it very high on their wish list to find a job. They're worried about finding a job, getting placed. People who are already in their professional careers are worrying about my juniors either replacing me or machines replacing me or AI replacing me, one of the above. People who've been in their professional journey for such a long time, 20, 25 years, worry and ask themselves this question: do I have the skills to stay relevant till the end of my retirement? Because I said 40 has become the new retirement age. This feeling is not confined to this room or to our geography. This feeling is universal. Everybody pursuing a career today or would like to pursue a career today go through the same anxiety. Let me make a personal confession here. I'll start with that because that makes books interesting and juicier. Like many of you here, I've also experienced career anxiety. When did that happen? In 2001, during the dot-com bust, I was in the US. I was on an H-1B visa. Everything was fine until that morning, that dreaded email was there in my inbox. I was there at 8 o'clock. I opened my mailbox and then I realized that there was a message. 12,000 employees a couple of weeks ago received the same message. I received that back then. I was on an H-1B visa, which means the clock was ticking. All I had was 3 months in front of me to find a job. If I couldn't find a job, I had to pack up and leave the country. My father is here today. I don't know if he still remembers. Before I boarded the flight, he gave me a docket with frequently asked questions. Or probably he wrote down various situations, life situations, and if I were in those, how would I navigate in a land where I don't have my parents or I don't have my family? The questions included, what do I do if I lost my passport? What do I do if my traveler's check got stolen? And there were so many such scenarios. There was one scenario that my father didn't write, was what would happen if my career failed or probably I hit a dead end. But then the answers that he had given for various situations actually helped me navigate that situation. While I was working, I was also pursuing my MBA. So I quickly decided I had an opportunity to pivot. I want to pivot back to being a student again. So I quickly became a full-time student at University of Rhode Island, and I decided to stay there. The clouds were dark. The economic recession was going on. So university seemed to be the best place for me to learn more, not just hide, but to learn more. A year later, the worst was over. I started to see some blue skies on the horizon. I sent out my resume and I was able to find a job. Higher pay, new skills. What stayed with me at the end of this particular episode continuously keep propelling me forward. There were various other life situations that I'm going to share with you, but at any point, I never had career anxiety. This first episode showed me that careers are non-linear. All of us probably assume that we learn, we earn, and we retire. That model has gone away. We don't live in that era anymore. That is like trying to take a 1950 map and navigating through the country. That is not possible. It is not going to lead you anywhere. The second lesson that I learned is the ground beneath me is constantly going to shift. And how do I stay relevant? Is only by learning. I may not be at the university always, but I constantly have to learn, keep my skills up to date. I'm going to fast forward to 2009. My boss from back then is here, and I'm so happy he's here. He's the director of BIM as well. I'm so happy, and this all happened. None of us expected Satyam was going to collapse. I have a friend, Sharan, who's there in the audience. Sharan, we were on vacation. We just came back from Cambodia. The following morning, I go into work, and there at cafeteria, I see breaking news. And that's when Ramalinga Raju had confessed that I did something like this. None of us expected. The ground shifted. The ground broke. In fact, there were a lot of families, husband and wives working together in the organization. They were shattered. They didn't know how to reinvent themselves. What I realized that day, irrespective of whether you have exemplary talent, whether you passed out from Ivy League colleges, when disruption happens, a lot of people have no clarity. They freeze. They don't know how to go forward. I saw that day. Many people started clinging on to their jobs. They started clinging on to their titles. They started clinging on to their managers for their next job. I continuously kept telling people, don't cling on to anything. Cling on to your skills. Update them. Keep moving. And that would definitely take you to bigger heights. You don't have to live in somebody's shadow. I'm going to quickly fast forward to 2023. I was working at GE and I was called in one day as head of communications. They said, you need to write a communication to let go of 8,000 people across the globe. There were 6 months between this announcement coming and the announcement being rolled out. There was 6 months time between when the actual situation was going to happen. By then, somehow people on the ground already heard what was going to come. A lot of water cooler conversations had happened by then. People were nervous. They were fearful. You could see they were unclear in terms of how am I going to reinvent myself. I quickly went back to HR and I said, in India, we don't have outplacement services like what we have outside of India, because I've been in that situation. So when an outplacement agency, they quickly look at your resume, they probably look at the skills that you have, they ask you questions in terms of what you would like to do, and they also map opportunities in the outside world, and they help you bridge that gap quickly, and they place you in a couple of months' time. We don't have that situation here. So I suggested to HR, why don't we do a career conversation with our people? I said, I will be responsible for it. 45 minutes every other week, we will take people through what it takes to build a career, what it takes to reinvent themselves. HR being HR, quickly rebuffed, and they said, this is going to put in a lot of fear in the mind of people. We're not going to allow you to do that. I just couldn't accept that answer. And then eventually what I did was came out of the organization and I started to post on LinkedIn how to pivot and how to reinvent. Many of those posts went viral because a lot of my employees, my former colleagues were impacted and they did not know how to do this. How to build a career and how to navigate disruption should ideally be taught in colleges. They were never taught. They should be spoken at the workplace. They were never spoken. So I thought this became the seed of my book. And I said, I really need to write on this topic. And I need to help people. So who is this book going to help? Anybody who's unsure about where their career is headed. Any student who's out there who's going to plan their career. Earlier, we did not need this guidebook because the world was pretty much the same: learn, earn, retire. But now times have changed. Very quickly, a disruption happens in one part of the world and the impact is felt across. That's when I decided we need this book and I have to do this, because there's nothing else readily available in the market that actually brings everything together. There could be something on building, there could be something on pivoting, but nothing for Indian audience. What does this book give you? A lot of experience sharing has happened in the book, not by me, but by people who've pivoted and reinvented. Those are available in the form of case studies in the book. A lot of questions have been asked in the book so that you have those penny drop moments and you're able to pause and reflect. Complex ideas about building careers have been simplified through illustrations and examples, real life examples. And it also gives you actionable takeaways at the end of every chapter. A lot of us fear of AI today. What is it going to do to our careers? But let me make a couple of confessions. I've used AI in this book very intelligently, not to write, but to do my illustrations. AI requires a lot of intelligent prompting. If you don't do intelligent prompting, you may not get the desired output. A lot of these, I approached people who were doing illustrations on the side, as a side hustle. A lot of them did not have time and the time frame that I wanted to put this book out, because this disruption was happening. I said, when I am prescribing AI to people, I said, why don't I taste that medicine myself? So I decided to use AI there. Not just that, AI is also going to be in that particular chapter. I'm telling, don't look at AI as a villain, look at AI as an ally. Use that to build your careers. I've given so many templates that you can reuse to prompt and get inputs. I'm going to, with the caveat that AI hallucinates, but you always need real life people and mentors to guide you. So this is a full circle moment for me, from being laid off in 2001 to again watching my colleagues experience layoff in 2009. Not that I was not laid off, I was also laid off, but I had a job. The day that I came back from work and they told me I was going to be laid off, I had an email sitting from Polaris. They said, we want you to join us. So this was literally, I landed in my feet. I jumped from the sky, but I landed on my feet. And multiple times this has happened, but every time I never lost confidence. I always knew that I had the confidence and I had the skill and I could reinvent myself. And my father sitting in front of me always used to say, never give up. He always, whatever life situations he had to navigate, he always told me, continue, don't give up. There'll always be avenues. So today this book is your roadmap. I definitely urge you to get a copy. Gift a copy to those people who are going through difficult career patches. We may have come into this room with a little bit of fear and anxiety, but I want all of you to leave with confidence and clarity that you can do it better than what I did. Thank you.